Hello students, welcome to one more talk on environmental studies. I am Professor Suresh Mane. In this talk we shall look into module 4, that is global environmental concerns, how that environment is being damaged and what are the concerns globally. The content is global environmental concern, concept, policies and case studies, groundwater depletion by recharging, climate change, acid rain, ozone depletion, radon and fluoride problem in drinking water, resettlement and rehabilitation of people, and environmental toxicology. So during its long history, the Earth has experienced prolonged periods of global warming and global cooling. Considerable evidence indicates that the Earth's troposphere is warming, partly because of human activities, and that this trend will add to significant climate change during this century. As you know, industrial revolution started only 200 years back, and because of that, lot of anthropogenic activities, that is human activities, there is global warming, mainly due to the air emissions, pollutants. Global warming is one of the most serious environmental threats faced by humanity. Already the damage is done and it is aggravating. But nations are seized of the matter and taking actions. And the actions are also definitely proving good results are coming up. But as the damage is done for over two centuries, now even the actions should go at least for 1 century to go back to square one. Although we cannot stop climate change, we can use existing technological and policy options to help slow the rate of climate change and adapt to its effects. So already, as I said, policy decisions have been made by various governments. So there are 200 countries in the world, and most of the countries have acknowledged that global warming is a environmental threat to mankind. Widespread use of certain long-lived chemicals have reduced ozone levels in the stratosphere, which allows more harmful ultraviolet radiations to reach the Earth's surface. As we have used some chemicals, especially like refrigerants in our cars and fridge, ACs and all, like chlorofluorocarbons, they have harmed the ozone in the stratosphere, and because of that thinning of the ozone layer, lot of harmful ultraviolet rays are reaching Earth's surface from the sun. If countries adhere to its terms, an international treaty phasing out ozone depleting chemicals should return ozone concentration in the stratosphere to 1980 levels by 2050. By the year 2050, we will reach the 1980 levels. Now this picture shows ice cores which we get from the deep drilling, in the glaciers of Antarctica and Greenland. So this gives us the information about the past climates. So this ice which is formed over hundreds of years now, you will drill a small drilling, it comes out and then they are analyzed. So we shall look at major greenhouse gases from human activities. So first column is greenhouse gas, then the human source, then average time in the troposphere, and the relative warming potential compared to CO2. We call it GWP, global warming potential. They are all compared with CO2. CO2 is very abundant, so this CO2 is considered one. So there are other things gases are all related to CO2. Now you can see carbon dioxide is mainly emitted due to fossil fuel burning, especially coal. Deforestation means we are cutting trees. So this trees used to absorb carbon dioxide, but that is not happening now. And then plant burning, plant and trees burning, even the agriculture residue burning. I think you have seen that problems in North India, especially during winter season. Then average time it will stay for over 100 years, and that GWP will call as 1. Now why we are reading it in detail is, even our activities as individuals, as responsible citizens, as professionals, we need to see what is my contribution towards all of these. Please introspect. Let there be some critical thinking as to what is my contribution. Second is methane, CH4. Rice, paddies, guts in agriculture, guts of cattle and termites, landfills, coal production, coal seams, natural gas leaks from oil and gas production, and pipelines. So this methane basically animal stomach, animal gas. Like in our bodies we produce gas, likewise even animals produce lot of methane. Similar rice and even the landfills where they dump the waste of that town, there methane is produced. Coal production and even natural gas is nothing but methane only. So if it leaks during the drilling or even transportation, they are all like methane only. So methane stays for around 12 to 18 years, and the global warming potential is 23 times that of CO2. That is why a lot of people have objected to developed countries have objected to a lot of cattle in India. Even that is the issue now, because the cattle leads to methane, and then methane is 23 times more lethal than CO2 in terms of global warming potential. Then nitrous oxides, fossil fuel burning. See, fossil fuel burning means your petrol car, diesel car, these are all bikes, they are all coming in fossil fuel burning only. Whether it is coal, or it is oil, whether gas. Then fertilizer usage, livestock waste, and nylon production. So this almost more than 100 years, and it has got 296, almost 300 times that of CO2. So when you use your petrol cars and bikes, we release carbon dioxide, we release oxides of nitrogen. Then chlorofluorocarbons. One thing I would like to say, even 1 liter of 1 kg of petrol when you burn, 1 kg of diesel when you burn, almost 3.5 kgs of carbon dioxide you dump into the atmosphere. I think this is one figure you should remember. Then CFCs, that is chlorofluorocarbons. So this chlorofluorocarbons, in this the chlorine atom, that is very dangerous. Okay, so these were used in air conditioner, refrigerators and plastic foam. Now stopped. Now we are not using CFCs. But this had a life of almost 10 to 20 years. And as you can see, 900 to 8,300 times more GWP, global warming potential, compared to carbon dioxide. And after the development, phasing out of CFCs, HFCs came out. HCFC, hydrochlorofluorocarbons. So these are again used in ACs, refrigerator, plastic foam, and they had a lesser GWP, like 470 to 2000. Okay, and lately you have got hydrofluorocarbons, that is air conditioners, refrigerators, plastic foams, and they have got a global warming potential of 130 to 12,700. So they too have a lot of global warming potential. Here too there are two things. One thing I will tell you, it is not only your global warming potential, but there is something also called as ozone depletion potential. So though this HFC, they have got high global warming potential, but they have got very low uh, ozone depletion potential. That is why they are used. Then halons are used in fire extinguishers, and carbon tetrachloride, it is used in chemicals cleaning solvent. It has got around 1400. So please understand, whatever chemicals we use, whatever fuels we burn in your transportation vehicles, even electricity, whatever you use today at home, electricity used here is produced somewhere else, and 60% of the production is through thermal route, coal, burning of coal, and that leads to emissions. Even 1 unit of electricity, we release almost 1 kg of CO2 into the atmosphere. So please understand, in 1 month we are using almost 200-300 units. So without our knowledge, we are sending so much amount of CO2 into the atmosphere. So these are very important statistics. You being educated people should understand. I think lot of globally lot of talk is going on save planet Earth. Now let us look at carbon dioxide. You can see these x-axis is the year 1800, 1900, 2000, 2100, and y-axis is the ppm parts per million. We are almost nearly reached now. 2020 we are nearly reached 400 ppm. So you can see the graph, it is only increasing, and it after 1950 and all, there is a steep increase due to, this is mainly due to human activity. Lot of transportation, you can see every person has got a personal transport. Earlier, before 1950 and all, it was all like a public transport. People used to travel by bus, trains, but today people prefer to travel by their own individual cars, individual bikes, and also the standard of living has increased. So we use lot of electricity. Similarly, in case of methane, you can see the graph is increasing, but now after 2000 it has stabled. It is almost now graph is not going north, it is flat, but still it is very high when compared to 100 years back. Same comes to oxides of nitrogen also. After the year 2000, this is also parts per billion. After 2000 it has become flat, but the values are still very high when compared to those 100 years ago. So because of this NOx and all, I think now you might have seen this Euro 6 Bharat Stage 6 emission norms, and the petrol and diesel, whatever fuels we are now buying, now the latest fuel is Bharat Stage 6, so the emissions are greatly reduced, and that is why, especially for this NOx, you can see that the diesel vehicles are coming out with that AdBlue technology, where urea water is used in the engines, that is post after the emission for neutralizing the NOx. And secondly, in most of the bikes and cars today, it is almost a standard fitment that you have got EGR, that is exhaust gas recirculation. Even your bike what you are having, car what you are having, if you go read the manual, you will find that there is exhaust gas recirculation of around 10 to 15%, so that the NOx is reduced by almost 80%. This NOx is produced mainly due to high temperature combustion, and the temperatures go almost around 2000 degrees centigrade, where the nitrogen, which is inert in nature, nitrogen is inert, it doesn't react, but still because of high temperature it starts reacting with oxygen and forms oxides of nitrogen. I think you know, when you eat chips packets, it is filled with nitrogen. Even your tires, they are inflated with nitrogen. Car tires, aeroplane tires, because it doesn't react and it is not flammable also. Now one more dangerous situation you can see. This is though small, a very big picture of Arctic ice. So these are the satellite images. You can see 1980, 90, 2000, 2000, 25 years. Now the North Pole, you can see the ice. The ice this is a satellite picture, and you can see the ice cover has shrunk by 9%. Now it has gone more. This is a 17 years back picture. This has shrunk very much. So where this ice has gone? So whatever this ice has there, it is melted, and that increases the sea level, mean sea level. And because of the increase in mean sea level, lot of damages are likely to happen. And please understand, these are irreversible. If the ice has melted, we cannot do anything to restore the ice back there. So very dangerous situation, and this corona somehow we are able to manage, but if the global situation comes, then I think most of us will not be prepared to handle the natural disasters. So this is regarding one more graph you can see climate change के लिए. So humans, we are this going means going there are arrows going top and there are going arrows coming down. So you can see human activity, aerosols, greenhouse gases we are sending. Then the ice and snow cover is decreasing. Okay. Then because we have cut down the plants, CO2 removal by plants is reducing, but the CO2 emissions are increasing because we are cutting the trees and firing and even the decay. So these are all the problems. So what will be the problem because of warmer climate? Now we know, everybody knows that the earth is becoming warm. We know that 1.52 temperature, 2 degrees centigrade increase in temperature. So in this picture we will see what are the damages happening, like in various sectors. Now agriculture, so agriculture shift in the food growing areas. So I think food growing area itself has reduced now, and crop yields have changed. Okay, and increased irrigation demands mean the water requirement to grow crops has increased, and lot of pests, diseases and weeds in the warmer areas. And to counter these pests or diseases, we are using lot of chemicals. Okay, that is another flip side of it. The next is water resources. So what changes in water supply, decreased water quality, increased drought, increased flooding. Some area there is drought, means less water. Somewhere there is more area, flooding is happening. Then snowpack reduction and melting of mountain top glaciers. So whatever that Himalayas, this Arctic, we have seen that ice is gradually melting. This forest also changes in the forest composition and locations. Disappearance of some forests, especially ones at high elevations. Increased fires from drying. I think last year we had seen in Australia a lot of forest fires are happening, and because of that loss of wildlife habitat and species. So basically Karwar and Goa, like sea level and coastal areas, rising sea levels. So there will be flooding of low-lying areas, islands and coastal cities. Even I think last year we saw that floods, a lot of water came into the Kali rivers, discharge was increased and water came into a lot of places in Karwar also. Then flooding of wetlands and coral reefs, beach erosions are happening, disruption in the coastal fisheries, contamination of coastal aquifers with salt water. Biodiversity also it is affecting, like some plants and animal species are becoming extinct. We are losing them forever. Loss of habitats, disruption in aquatic life, and weather extremes. You can see prolonged heat waves and droughts, increased flooding from more frequent, intense and heavy rainfall in some areas. Human population increased deaths from heat and disruption of food supplies. Because of agriculture now production is reduced and a lot of deaths. More environmental refugees, increased migration, human health, decreased deaths, from cold weather. Earlier, actually, if you remember your ancestors and all, you can talk to them, especially during winter season, November, December, January, people used to die, elderly people and all. So because of the warm weather, now they are not dying. Means the death rate is slightly reduced because of warm. This is one good thing. But there is a flip side is increased deaths from heat and disease, disruption of food and water supplies, spread of tropical diseases to temperate areas, increased respiratory diseases and pollen allergies, lung problems, asthma and all you are finding, increased water pollution from coastal flooding, and increased formation of photochemical smog. So these are all the problems. See, you can see in this picture, like low-lying islands like Maldives, they'll almost disappear. There's around 3 lakh people who are staying there. The ocean is only 1 meter, that is 3 feet high above the sea level. So if the water increases by 3 feet, then this will all be doomed. Now for global warming, how we can do the prevention, like, so cut fossil fuel use, that is instead of using coal, you should use natural resources like solar and wind, and even we should use less electricity. Shift from coal to natural gas, improve energy efficiency. As the engineers, I think you are studying thermodynamics, it is only to improve the energy efficiency, and shift to renewables, we are all doing that. Then transfer energy efficiency and renewable energy technologies in developing countries. See, one thing is, I think you are aware that lot of technologies are there available in the developed countries, but poor countries and developing countries, they don't have resources to do that R&D and come up with this new technology. So that it is a moral responsibility of the developed nations to hand over the technologies. Reduce deforestation, so tree cutting, and please use less wood and wood-based materials. Like even if you see that central PWD and state PWD, they are now banned the use of wood in the government buildings. Use more sustainable agriculture. Agriculture also now go for organic farming, use less chemicals, and limit urban sprawl. So we are increasing, urban population is increasing, we have to contain that, and government is doing to improve the tier 2 and tier 3 cities now. Slow the population growth. I think population is one of the major problems. As the population increases, the demand on the earth increases. And how we can do the cleanup? So cleanup, as I told, remove CO2 from smokestack and vehicle emissions. Then there is some technology called CO2 sequestration by planting trees, so that plants and trees, they will absorb the CO2. And you can also capture the CO2 from the atmosphere and put it underground, and they are even planning to make use it as a fuel also, extract carbon and use it again. Then you need to repair the leaky gas pipelines. Like in our house we have got water leaking, na? Similarly, because small house water droplet, it is falling, you are seen, wasted. Similarly, natural gas pipelines, lot of gas will be leaking. So now we shall look at groundwater depletion. I can give one simple example here. In my village, when we dug our first borewell, at around 30 years back, we have dug for 200 feet, we got water, and then we went for another 50 feet for storage. So 250 feet the borewell is over. But today, last year we have dug borewell, so we have gone up to 600 feet, and then we got water. So we again dug one more 100 feet for storage, and today almost in my village the water is available at 600 to 800 feet down. which was available at 200, now it has gone down. So groundwater has depleted, or the water table has gone down in the earth. So groundwater depletion, a term often defined as a long-term water level declines caused by the sustained groundwater pumping, is the key issue associated with groundwater use. See, it is very simple here. The earth is like a big ball. Okay, there is a water inside, and we are taking out the water. But whether we are filling the water back inside, like recharging, that we have to take care. So now we have to make some bund, like people are talking of rainwater harvesting. So water is going and drain, that should be allowed to percolate in the earth and recharge the groundwater. I think next problem what the mankind is going to face is on water only now. Now we look at acid rain. You can see a beautiful picture here. So one is NOx, then SOx. This is from industry, from your transport vehicles. Okay, they go up, mix with water, and then form weak acids and fall down. And as they fall, they damage everything. They damage the flora and fauna, they damage buildings, even they affect the marine life. You can see here right side drawing like VOC, volatile organic compounds. I can give one example of VOC. Like you use paints, like enamel paints for painting your windows, doors and all. What happens? It is a liquid paint, but when you use the paint, the liquid, something dries up in that, and only the thin film of paint remains on the doors. So whatever this dried up, that is a VOC, that is volatile organic compound. They go to the atmosphere. Then you have got SO2, oxides of sulfur, that is sulfur dioxide, NOx. So these all, because anthropogenic means human activity. Anthropogenic means human activity, like industry, factory, homes. They go up, they mix up with the water, and when they mix with water, they precipitate in the form of weak acid. So NOx will become HNO3, that is nitric acid. SOx will give formation to H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid. So these acids are very dangerous, and as you know, Taj Mahal got affected because of this, and the Supreme Court had to interfere, and now all the polluting industries have been shifted away from the close vicinity of Taj. Water pollution. Water pollution also you can see industrial effluent waste, leakage of water tanks, marine dumpings, radioactive waste, atmospheric deposition, major causes of pollution. Heavy metals that are disposed of and industrial waste can accumulate in lakes and rivers, proving harmful to humans and animals. I think you have seen even our use of chemicals, like we use lot of soaps for self-use and washing clothes, washing utensils. These also cause water pollution. And you have seen sometimes these fishes will die and come to the shore. Even small sharks, whales will come, die and come because of pollution, water pollution. So very dangerous it is. Then I think lastly we will see this fluorine and radon pollution in water. I think in Gadag district in Karnataka long back, they found a lot of problems with people, and after investigation they found that fluorine is more. This fluorine basically is a common element, okay, but it is highly reactive. So it is like in the form of you can see fluorspar, cryolite, and this hydrogen fluoride, like colorless, pungent, liquid or gas, and very low boiling point of around 20 degrees centigrade, and it is highly soluble in water and forms hydrofluoric acid. So it is found that lot of problems because of this fluorine in the people, and now they are trying to give remedies to the, first of all to detect only, that was a big problem, and once they are detected, now they are trying to give remedial treatments. Similarly, radon also is a colorless, tasteless, odorless, odor means smell, radioactive gas it is, and it also is produced by breakdown of uranium in soil. Now we are using this uranium for nuclear power plants, and it also dissolves in the water. So these are all dangerous. Lately we have found out all these dangers of this fluorine and radon and all. We'll have one more discussion on this. So there are topics like biomedical waste. Now biomedical waste means you go to hospitals now because of corona, a lot of you can see a lot of personal protective equipment, PPEs are used, and lot of waste is being generated every day. Even the surgeries, whatever they do, that is a biomedical waste. Okay, that has to be incinerated, means it has to be burnt at high temperatures so that it doesn't damage or cause problems. Similarly, solid waste can be from homes, that is society, or from industries. Hazardous waste like batteries, whatever used in bikes, your inverters, they all constitute the hazardous waste. Glass, then acids, so many things which can cause hazard. These are called hazardous waste. So government has come out with guidelines, rules for how to dispose of this hazardous. Now you can't throw the batteries wherever you want, even your cells. So there should be proper disposal of this hazardous waste. Then there is now e-waste, lot of mobile phones, lot of computers, electronic gadgets, they are getting damaged. So we are replacing, people are replacing. So this e-waste also they should properly handle so that we are able to recover the precious metals, and we should recycle the metals and plastics instead of throwing them in the dump yard. And industrial and municipal sludge. Industrial and municipal sludge means lot of this sludge is not liquid exactly, it is a viscous liquid. So what happens, this municipal sludge, industrial sludge, there also whatever if it can be converted into manure, we should convert it into manure and use it in agriculture. If we can use it as a fuel, people are planning for using that as a fuel also. So a lot of technologies are happening. So in this talk we have seen about pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, air pollution and all. So this pollution is very dangerous and detrimental, and we being educated people should take steps to reduce pollution. We'll have one more discussion on this module.